This is Margaret Schlachter of Mud Run Guide. I am here with Gideon Bright. Gideon is the founder and owner of DryRobe, the one piece of apparel that once you try on, I think every obstacle racer wants to add it to their kit. So, Gideon, thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us.
Oh, it's nice to see you again. Nice to see you.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people now have seen your product. They've seen, I've written a review about it a couple of years ago when you guys first sent me one. But how did DryRobe first get started? Because I remember it didn't start originally for obstacle racing. So how did you sort of become like the unofficial apparel of obstacle racing?
It was funny. It started originally for surfing because that was what I've done all my life. And cold changing in car parks, and it was based on something my mum made for me when I was about 15 years old. And she sort of had this big changing tent thing that had elastic around her neck, and we used to pull it up over our heads and get changed in it. And all my mates used it, and she'd put a bit of tent material on the outside of it. And so I kept that in mind, and then a few years down the line, people were using toweling robes, and I used one of those, and it was raining. And it's just, after seeing a couple of other products and travelling about a bit, it's just something that stayed in my mind. So I developed the actual product from there. Where it crossed into OCR was I took it to a triathlon show. I wore it home actually from surfing, and a friend of mine who's a triathlon coach saw me come home in it and went, "What the hell's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a changing unit in the car park," because I just wore it home and jumped in the shower at home, and he saw me coming out of the car. And so he said, "Christ, that would be really good for tri. I could use that for triathlon after swim training and everything." After a bit of further development, just putting some pockets in it and making it a bit more relevant, I took it to a triathlon show, and we sold out on the first day. So I ended up walking around the triathlon show and going, "This is quite interesting. I can see that there's a fit here." I didn't know anything about the market, but I did bump into a chap called Ross McDonald later on through triathlon, who said, "I think this would fit really well into OCR." And I started looking at it. I have to admit, I didn't know what it was. I knew a couple of the brands, but it's pretty much as soon as Ross found it and used it, we just knew that it was a perfect fit for it, really. And so it was down to Ross finding it, a few of the guys taking it out and using it, and then just people spotting it. Much like it happened in surfing, people saw it and just went, "Oh my God, that makes sense. I could do with that." So yeah, that's how it went.
Now, and over the last couple of years, your company has really grown and expanded. I mean, before we started recording, you said you were in a barn or a warehouse not too long ago, and now you have a nice shiny office that you guys are in. So
yeah, it started it started beside my bed on a laptop, really, and then when I moved in, I bought myself a garden shed, moved myself into that, and then into an office, and pretty much we've moved year on year, and now we're in a nice big unit, and got sort of 14 staff, and it's growing quickly, but it's fun. It's fun, but it's scary and fun. I'm not the businessman. I'm just learning to catch up, really. We started with a good product and playing catch up. But it's interesting times. It's good fun.
So I guess, one of the big questions is for those people that there are other products on the market that are not what you do, but some people might say they're similar enough that why have a DryRobe, which is a bit more expensive than, I guess mostly it's like the swim parkas, I think would be the comparable thing that a lot of people sort of compare DryRobes to. But what makes DryRobe different than that like swim parka that some people would get?
Well, in America, people are used to that. I mean, when I went to Australia and when I was thinking about this product, I saw people using swim parkas. And I originally thought, it's a great concept because I saw them coming straight out of the pool and putting these coat things on. I thought, Christ, that's nice. Imagine doing that out of the surf. So they're similar, and if you want to get warm fast, they're great. But the trouble and the difference is if you want to, you can get yourself warm. So as soon as you come out of the water, the wind hits you. Whether you're in a wetsuit, it will start to chill you down. But when you strip that wetsuit off, you're going to get cold. If you're coming straight out, skin swimming, you want to put something on, get warm, the parka will do it. But the difference is when you want to get changed, so you can get yourself warm, but when you want to get changed with a DryRobe, you pull your arms inside, strip off all your wet kit, pull on your wet kit. You don't have to go, actually, I'm nice and warm now, I'm going to chuck this off and get freezing cold again before I get warm again. So it is just that difference. Once you're warm, you know, once you need to get warm and you get warm, you don't want to be going, oh Christ, I've got to do all this again. I mean, there's no point. So you can either leave it on, drive home in it, it's waterproof both ways, or you use it as it's, you know, originally intended. Pull your arms in, you've got plenty of space to change in it. So that's, and there is nothing like that. You know, you can wriggle stuff around in a park. You're not going to do the stuff on the top, and it's just it is a different garment, really. Yeah, different use.
Yeah, so I guess, can you talk a little bit about the construction of it, like the outer shell, how permeable it is for water or repelling water, and then kind of what the inside and how they're different than what else is on the market?
Yeah, absolutely no way. It's completely top secret. So it's built by a workwear company or a factory that builds workwear. So a lot of the stitching, it's just built to last. You know, we use a chunky YKK zip. We use a 4-ounce nylon, which we never, you know, it's completely waterproof. Any stitching is all taped. We've got any embroidery that goes on there is all waterproof sealed tape behind. The construction, actually, it's one huge sheet. So if you look at it, it's got no shoulder seams. The only seam is around the neck and then down under the arms. So we kept seams minimal. And the lining, it's high polyester content. So it feels like when you put it on, if you rub it, it bounces heat. It feels like it bounces heat. You know, we don't make claims that, but you rub it and you'll feel warm. And when you put it on, the actual feeling that you get is, you think, Christ, it's actually warm. You know, it heats up really fast, and it's high polyester content in it. So it's just those things. We just put them together. They work, and we've stuck with that system. And it's just a feeling. The nice bit is when people use it and they go, "Oh my God!" You know, it really does work. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that the first time that I ever used the one that you guys sent me to try out was, I don't know, it's over 2 years ago now, I think, but it was actually at the winter obstacle race in Vermont, the Polar Bear Challenge, and the changing area that they have there is not very warm. so it's not really a wet race, but you're running through snow, so you know you get a little bit wet. But you're not plunging into water there. But still, the great thing was, and what I still remember is I was talking to another racer and we were just having a conversation, but I was actually changing at the same time underneath the robe, and he stopped because there wasn't a male or female, it was just a open changing area. And he said, "Are you changing clothes right now? Are you?" And I think at that point, like I had like pulled off my like pants and I was putting new ones on, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm changing right now. Why?" He goes, "That's really wait, you're fully changing right now." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fully changing right now."
It's a weird feeling, isn't it? It's like once you get used to it, it feels quite normal. But I remember changing, like the very first one I had, the first version of it. I went up to my local break, and I actually drove out quite away from the normal parking. It's like this big long road that fronts onto the beach. So I drove up to quite a quiet space and thought, I'll put it on and see if I can get in and out of a wetsuit in this thing. You know, put it on. It felt kind of weird. Stripped off all my clothes, and 2 ladies came up and went, "Oh, what's that? It's lovely." So I stood there talking, thinking, I hope I'm covered up here because this feels a bit strange. But yeah, you get used to it, don't you? But it's a bit odd being able to sort of strip off completely. You kind of feel naked even though you got this thing on. So it's an odd feeling.
Yeah, and I remember too everybody afterwards because I had it on over my dry clothes later on, and at first they're like, "You look like a little oompa," because I'm not very tall, so and the dry robe look makes me look like a little, makes me. But then the minute I said, "Here, you want to try it on?" They all tried it on, and they're like, "Okay, I rescind everything I just said, making fun of you. This thing is amazing, and how can I get one?"
Yeah,
So
that's usually, it takes a bit of cold. It's like putting them in the right environment. If somebody's slightly cold and they go, "Oh, I don't get it, it looks kind of funky, I'm not," or when people first try them on and they go, "I don't get this, is this too big for me?" Or, and you say, "Wait till you use it," and you just put it on them in the right situation, and yeah, people get it.
So I have a question. I think this question comes up for a lot of people is that washing your dry, like what is the best way to clean up your dry robe, especially if you've worn it at like a really muddy obstacle race or, like I had it at World's Toughest Mudder and it's just dusty there. So everything gets dusty. So what's the best way afterwards to try to clean it up?
I've seen jet washes used, and I've seen all sorts, and yeah, we've seen people outside showers and jet washes and all sorts. But actually, you just you can do that. I mean, if it's grouted, jet wash it, hose it down, do what you like. But what most people do is 30 degrees in a washing machine.
Okay.
You just don't use any, like you would for any outdoor clothing. You don't use fabric softeners, and you use a non-bio powder. Put it on a gentle wash. I'd zip it up so it doesn't rattle around so much, but you can just chuck it in the washing machine, let it go, and then when it's finished, let it spin and hang it on a door. I mean, the official thing is all like flat, but actually everyone just hangs them on a door and they dry. They dry in ambient temperature. You can never ever put it on a heater though, because of the way that lining works. That's the one thing. We've seen people put them on heaters or radiators and it makes the lining slightly crispy inside. So don't do that. But they wash up. I mean, it's the OCR guys that wash them all the time. We went to a swimming show, Phil took a stand up to a swimming show that we did in the UK, ice swimming thing. A lot of the ice swimmers use them as well. And they went, "Oh, what? You can wash them? I've never washed mine." And they've had them about 4 years. You go, "Oh, it must be," but they don't get stinky. They don't wash them. But the mud run guys, obviously, you got to wash it pretty much after every use. But they're robust enough and they work. It's just you have to let it dry.
Yeah, and I know that some people have said, and I think this was already addressed, and it was actually Garfield Griffiths, I think it was, who came up with the idea of using one of the vacuum bags to sort of vacuum seal the dry robe down to fit into your luggage.
That is such a classic. I mean, when I saw that, it actually was news to me because I watched that video as well and went, "Oh my God, that's genius." But it came through at really good timing as well because we were stuffed. We'd done a job for MIT Tough Team and we had 20 dry robes to get to the OCR World Championships in Canada. And they weren't ready and I don't know what happened, but we didn't ship them in time. We had all sorts of trouble. And we went out there and we'd just seen that video as well. And we were going, "Christ, all this stuff that we're moving around." But one of the girls from the office, Tallulah, said they came into the office after I'd left and we said, "Well, what are we going to do? I feel really bad. We promised to get them there." And we ended up going out and getting those vacuum bags, 20 of them. We vacuumed all the air out of them, stuck them in 2 suitcases. Tallulah flew over with them. I mean, it was a bit ridiculous in the end, but some mates wanted those and we delivered on it, and she literally flew out and then flew back again with them in there. I don't know if that's legal, but yeah, that's what happened anyway. So we were able to get them out there. But yeah, it's genius. But in the background, what we were working on was a new compression bag. It's just gone live on the website now. But it's and you can actually stick a Hoover on this. It's got a valve on it. I should have it here to show you, but I haven't. But it's I have, but I won't even get it now. But it's got a valve on it that you can use a vacuum on. But actually, it's more for when you're traveling about and you want to pack it down where you are. You literally It's like a stuff sack. You open the top, stuff it in with the hood first, roll it over, clip the top, you kneel on it, squish all the air out, poke the valve back in, and the straps on the back that you pull to keep it compact. And that's if you haven't got a vacuum cleaner's hand. But those $5 whatever they are vacuum bags take some beating. It's amazing how small and flat they go down when all the air's taken out of them. Because it is one of the things of traveling with it is they're big bulky things. I've seen the videos of the guys wearing them over to Toughest in Sweden, all wearing them, and we've travelled with them on before to expos and things, and it's quite fun. But if you do want to pack it in, that's a really good way. It is a really good way. The trouble is, you can't. We're developing a lightweight one as well, okay, for warmer climates, because a lot of people have asked. A lot of people use them in the Canaries for triathlon training, and warm climate people like the concept. So we have one in development. But you compromise the warmth. For most people, it's that keeping warm is the key thing. If you make the fleece thinner, yes, it goes down in volume, but you lose the warmth. So,
gotcha.
It is what it is, and it has to be that way.
So other than the new stuff sack that you said that is now available, and you said you guys are working on a lighter version, are there any other developments with DryRobe or innovations that you're currently working on for the upcoming year that you can kind of maybe give us a preview of?
We've got stuff. We have got the lightweight one, which is it's interesting. There's some other stuff going on in the background. We're trying to work with some fabrics more on the eco side, and there's quite a bit going on as well on the packaging side. It's just something we're looking at. As you ship out more volume of stuff, you sort of become aware, actually I'm generating some stuff here, and there's how does everyone else do this? Does everyone send stuff out in plastic, or there's got to be smarter ways of this, and how does stuff come in? So there's a lot of that stuff that's more big kind of picture stuff about how are we doing things? Are we doing things smart? Are we thinking about, I suppose it's without jumping on bandwagons, but it is something. If you end up producing a certain X amount of items, you have to think about how I'm producing it, and I'm ultimately responsible for that. So there's a lot of thinking going in on fabrics we're using, on packaging and processing that we're using, and that side of things. On pure product, we've got DryRobe Light, which I'm very excited about. There's a few nice features on that, and I'm not going to give them away because it'll be stuff that we like to roll out, but it will be a very lightweight version that's still got that function of being able to pull your arms and get changed inside it. We've got something as well which has come more on the athletic side, which I haven't talked about with anyone else, but trousers, like some trousers that have got some special functionality around just getting them on super fast over any kit, and I think that'll be quite interesting and popular. It was originally a sprinter when we were involved with the Olympics with Adidas, and we were being talked about, what have we got in the pipeline? And it came from the athletic side of guys said, look, Christ, we need something that keeps the leg muscles warm, and so it's not rocket science. It's pretty obvious what it's going to be, but there's some nice functionality around the way they work, and a few other little bits and bobs like accessories and things. But that's the main thing really is keeping the product. We always do little updates to the product. People go, I haven't seen that. You've put a little thing in there to put your keys on. That's smart. Or you've gone to zip pockets now. What's the thinking on that? And it's always just little updates. On the first original ones, we didn't have a thing. So if you pull the zip up, you could, possibly catch yourself on the zip. We've got little things now. So it's always evolving, and we don't necessarily announce everything as it evolves. It just evolves and gets introduced into it. So but always busy.
Well, excellent. And I think you guys are continuing to do create a great product for the obstacle racing industry, because even I feel like we're running into about the end of the interview, but I think that for a lot of people, you finish a race, you feel super warm for that second that you get done when you get the medal and you're really excited, and then all of a sudden you start to like have a beer with your friend, or you sit down, and then it's that after drop that I think is really where DryRobe is key. Like, it's nice to stay warm before you start, but it's that afterwards where your body temperatures plummets quickly, even though sometimes it's warm outside.
I mean, I follow your blog. I know some of the reading. I'm very interested in the effects of heat and cold on the body and on performance, and it's it's funny. It's actually quite in everyone's space at the moment, or it appears to be. Maybe it's just people I follow and things I'm interested in. But you've got like Tim Ferriss looking at it about the using saunas and heat therapy, and then the cold stuff with people experiencing or trying to expose themselves to cold, and using differences in temperature to have physical effects on the body. And it's very, very interesting. I've forgotten where I was going with this. Now I've taken myself all the way on the
warming afterwards.
But actually, what I think it is, for me, people, it's all fun and we've got a nice fun product, but actually it's pretty serious stuff. This, you see quite a few people get into difficulties. The product gets used a lot by lifesaving organisations here. A Team GB kit for surf lifesaving, Team USA kit for surf lifesaving as well. Used by a lot of medical teams will have our kit with them at events, and it is something people, as soon as they're hot, like you say, they're all pumped up, they've finished the event, it's all great, but standing there, it's quite it's amazing how fast you can be affected badly by not being aware of what's going on in your body. You get cold air going across hot, sweaty cotton. It's the worst possible thing. You wrap a towel around you, you get the towel wet, and the wind goes through it. It will cool you down. Just using the wrong kit can have serious implications. So it's something I'm educating myself on it all the time. It's something I've become more and more interested in. It seems like I'm doing things backwards, and we've got a product that works really well. Why does it work so well? What the hell's going on? Why do people like it so much? How does it help? So I'm learning it that way around. But interesting stuff. But it's also good to have something that we honestly get emails and calls of people saying, "Christ, this really helped." We wrapped somebody on the beach when they come out and they were freezing. We didn't have anything else to put on them, and this saved. It's that kind of thing happening, and it's good to have a product like that gets used where people say, "Oh God, can I wrap myself in that?" and it actually works. So, yeah.
Well, I think that you guys have a great product, and hopefully you guys will continue to have all the different innovations. And I'm really excited to see this, the lightweight or the warmer climate one as well, because I think that will have a lot of carryover into obstacle racing as well for those warmer races that you still want to have the changing capability and all the other great things that DryRobe has. So keep us updated on that, and we'll be looking for it.
Will do. When I fully recovered from my jet lag, I was over in Orlando at the Surf Expo, big surf show in Orlando. So I still think I'm a bit jet lagged, but thanks. Really nice to speak to you. Really nice.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Margaret.